Good morning everyone, my name is Michelle, I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another video. It is Tuesday morning, it's rained overnight, looks like rain again, which is good, we need it. The latest on the search for Kiely Rodni, there's been another press conference. The investigation is now going to take a turn. I discussed this the other day in a video. For anybody new to true crime cases, it's perfectly normal that a week or two into a missing persons case, the search takes a turn. And what I mean by that, it comes out of what I call the acute phase, where there is a concerted effort from law enforcement and search and rescue. They pull out all the stops, with boots on the ground, with air searches, with dive teams, and there's a command post. The media's there, they do almost daily press conferences. That's an acute phase. Now, the way that Placer County sheriffs described it in the press conference was the putting together of a task force. So this is the investigative phase, this is the desk operation. Now, of course, the desk operation has started. Things like cell phone dumps, analysing video footage, all of that stuff is part of what I call the desk operation. And of course, that starts immediately. They are still wanting more videos, more photos that people took at the party. But this task force is going to be more targeted. Searches, more targeted, and with a very kind of specific and targeted use of relevant personnel. They haven't specified how long they're going to do press conferences for, whether they're going to continue to do them daily. I suspect they won't very soon, and they'll just update if there's anything significant. So for anybody new to true crime cases, as I said, this is perfectly normal. It looks like the search has stopped. It looks like law enforcement are losing interest, but that isn't the case. It's just the direction changes to very targeted areas based on tips and things that come in, rather than pulling out all the stops and searching as far and as wide as they can whilst being as detailed as they can. So I hope that makes sense and it kind of allays some fears. Now, in terms of updates, as I talked about yesterday and as many channels have talked about now, Kiely has been supposedly seen in two different hoodies. A black one with song lyrics on it, and then a white one with Odd Future written on it. I don't think there's anything in those slogans. I think she was just lent these hoodies from people who were there. Interestingly, law enforcement are not releasing the video that they've got of Kiely at the party wearing the white hoodie because they say it's part of the investigation. Of course it is. So what will they be looking for in that picture? They'll be looking for people who were with her, identifying those people, interviewing those people. They'll have the timestamp of when that was taken. And the more video they get with Kiely in it, as I talked about yesterday, they can put a timeline together as to who Kiely was with at specific times. That's very, very important. Was she with the same people all the time? The closer it gets to the infamous 12:33, the last time Kiely's phone pinged, the more important it becomes. It's important to recognise that and to submit any footage you've got, any at all. If you were at that party or you know anyone who was at that party, please encourage them to come forward, say what they saw, submit the contents of the phone, the videos they took, the photos they took. What did you post on Snapchat? What did you post on other apps that oldies like me might not know about? Allegedly, the last ping from Kiely's phone was a Snapchat. I don't know whether that's true or whether that's just a rumour. Also, there's been a number of reports that have come out on social media that a large cavalcade, a convoy of vehicles left the party about 12:30 a.m. So exactly the time of Kiely's last phone ping. This is concerning. This is interesting. Is this relevant to Kiely's disappearance? Yes, it is, if true. At the very least, it could explain why Kiely's car left shortly after 12:33 and no one saw her leave. You know, this is just every parent's nightmare. But it might not be that there's a conspiracy of silence amongst the partygoers. It might be that no one saw her car leave because it was amongst this convoy of vehicles that were leaving at the time. The question becomes, why did a load of cars leave at that time? Were they going to another party elsewhere? Did something happen at the party that a lot of people knew about? Even if it's just a rumour, even if it's just, you know, someone's unwell, someone's OD'd. Oh, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be involved in this because I've taken something. That kind of understandable concern. And that's why a lot of cars up and left. I don't know. Now, it's interesting that Sammy said that she left at 12:25. She says that's the last time she spoke to Kiely and said to Kiely, I love you and be safe, and then left. Taking a lift off some unknown person. We don't know who that person is that gave Sammy a ride. We don't know if other people were in the car that took Sammy away from the party. We know that Mags, who arrived with Kiely in her car, only stayed 10 minutes and then left with her boyfriend. So was her boyfriend already at the party? Did he have a vehicle of his own? The party was taking a turn, according to Sammy, according to Mags, but I don't know. Some strange stuff going on. We haven't heard from Sammy or Mags for several days. That's not a bad thing for them because what Sammy was saying was very, very inconsistent, very, very concerning. You know, she sounds like she's incriminating herself, to be honest. So perhaps her parents have had a word with her, perhaps they've got an attorney and they've told her to stop speaking. I don't know. Maybe she's realised herself that her story is that inconsistent that people like me in the true crime community are going to talk about that, discuss that, theorise about it. So where did this convoy of vehicles go? Have any of those people that left at that time, you know, apart from Sammy, have they been identified? Have they come forward to law enforcement? Were you at the party? Did you leave around 12:30? Why? Was the party concluding? Was the party winding down? Was there another location that lots of people went to? If so, why? Was that arranged, that the party was going to change venue? Or did something happen? Did something happen to Kiely that people were vaguely aware of, even though they weren't kind of directly there? But if you were a car that left around 12:30, let law enforcement know where you went. Did you go straight home? Did you go somewhere else? Was the party changing venues? If so, why? Now, my theories about what happened to Kiely haven't changed. I still think there's some possibility that Kiely did leave of her own volition, was heading home, but was so utterly wasted she couldn't drive. But after this time, all this time, I've put that down to, I would say, 10% chance. It's still possible Kiely left of her own volition and somehow ended up in the lake. Several lakes have been searched, according to one person on Twitter who's been part of the volunteer search efforts. As the lakes are low at the moment due to lack of rainfall, makes things easier to spot. It doesn't change how difficult it is to find things that are now right at the bottom of those lakes. But if Kiely drove into a lake of her own volition, presumably that vehicle has sunk and it's not too far away from the edge. Search and rescue have been across the reservoir for several days and they went back there the other day. Now, it was because Kiely's phone, that last ping at 12:33, was near the water, near the reservoir's edge. The message from law enforcement was that it's just as likely that Kiely's phone pinged on land rather than in the water itself. And if it's true that that last ping was a Snapchat, it's important to know whether that was Kiely sending a Snapchat or whether that was Kiely receiving a Snapchat. Because if she was sending a Snapchat, she wouldn't be there drowning, would she, in the lake? But I did a little experiment with my own iPhone yesterday, an iPhone that I don't use now, using the Find My Apple product app. I put that video, it's about 8 minutes long. It's for channel members only, so if you're a channel member, go and check that out and let me know your thoughts. If you want to join the channel and become a member, become one of our secret agents, the join button is on the channel homepage, or the join link is in the description box of every video. Just scroll down the description box a little way and you'll find the join link. If you're having problems joining on an iPhone, allegedly opening up Safari and opening up YouTube via Safari gives you the capacity to join the channel. Yeah, I did an experiment with an iPhone that I don't use, and it didn't register on the Find My app until I turned it on. I turned it on and it registered, and then I turned it off. It had some charge on it. I turned it off and it still showed as a phone. The last known location kind of maintained its position. So if Kiely's phone was switched off purposefully, or destroyed, smashed up, or went into deep water and a ping wasn't possible, if it's switched off and it has some charge, it will still show up. So Ellie, with better equipment than the Find My Apple product app, will be able to find that last location, and indeed they have. But the other thing that happened when I did Find My Apple devices was that they kept moving, and a couple of my devices ended up in my neighbour's house. I stayed in exactly the same position throughout the entire video, but they kept moving location from, like, I don't know, 50 feet, 60 feet, you know, and it's just because of the triangulation that it does to find the location. It's not accurate, you know, it could be many feet away, so that's why law enforcement are saying that that last ping could just easily be on land as it was in the water. And also, of course, it doesn't mean to say that Kiely was with her phone. There could be an innocent explanation as to why Kiely was not with her phone at 12:33. It could be that Kiely dropped her phone in a wasted state and someone picked it up. Well, if someone picked it up, surely, you know, in innocence, they would have handed it in by now. So my other two theories are pretty much like equal, like 45% each. Or maybe I sway actually slightly to one than the other. So maybe 55-35. Does that now add up to 100? The one that goes from 35 to 45% is abduction. Somebody ambushed her on her way to the car, realised she was drunk, she was vulnerable, because Sammy, her supposed friend, who I don't think is a real friend at all, if you want my opinion, left her there, saying, oh, she's a smart girl, she can look after herself. She's 16, she's vulnerable, and you left her. There's no getting away from that, Sammy, right? If that's all your involvement was, and you just embellishing to make yourself look important because you're enjoying the attention, which you clearly are, It's still disgraceful behaviour leaving a friend, and I hope you learn your lesson and you never do it again. And yeah, you should feel guilty for that. So, someone saw her vulnerable, wasted, said, oh, I'll drive your car home, and then took her. So a crime of opportunity. One of the party goers. So this is why it's important that you were, if you were at that party, come forward and say exactly what you saw. But if she was a crime of opportunity by someone at the party, you know what? Law enforcement is coming for you. They're coming for you. Don't you worry. They're coming for you. Now, one channel reported that someone that they've got contact with said that they saw Kiely's car in Arizona heading in the direction of Mexico. Now, I have no idea about the accuracy of that report. A lot of people have mentioned it in my comment section. Yes, I've seen it. I can't say whether that's a reliable report, whether that's somebody with a similar vehicle, with a similar license plate. I think if that car had been stolen, if Kiely's car had been stolen and was heading to Mexico, my view is that they would have ditched the plates by now. But I don't know, anything's possible, I guess. But Kiely's car is somewhere. Now, if this was an abduction by somebody at the party, have they put that car in a garage, a lock-up, an outbuilding that hasn't been checked yet, and it's still relatively local? Possibly. The other theory that is a really strong contender for me is, it goes from 45 to 55% in my own head, is that something bad happened at the party. That's why lots of people left around the time of Kiely's last phone ping. And, they just didn't want to be involved in whatever was going down. Now, whether that was Kiely ODing on something that she'd been given, perhaps that happened in the car, at 11:30 when Sammy said she was in Kiely's car. They were charging their phones and getting more alcohol. Did Kiely OD in that car? And then Sammy and friends had an hour to work out what to do. Instead of calling the cops, they panicked. I don't know. I think that's a really strong contender for me as to what might have happened. Why they covered it up, because they didn't want to get themselves into trouble. Talked about possible motives the other day. And unless I learn more information that says otherwise, for me, something bad happening at the party, whether it's an overdose, whether it's one of these fight clubs that people are talking about, and Kiely accidentally died and people at the party freaked out and now they can't say. Well, you need to be brave and you need to say, like law enforcement have been saying, you're not going to get into trouble. They're just interested in finding out what happened to Kiely. That's all. So if you've been lying up to now because you think you're going to get yourself into trouble, because social media is going to destroy you, you need to be brave and you need to come forward and say exactly what went down and where exactly Kiely was taken. Was she alive when she left the campground? Was the text to her mother at 11:30 really Kiely? Her mother thinks so, but was it really Kiely? Did someone text in Kiely's style? If there's a text string to her mother, someone could text in the style of Kiely. Gives them an hour to decide what to do. Allegedly, one person called Elsa came forward and said that Kiely was there at 12 So was she around the party? Had she left the vehicle? Had something bad happened in the vehicle? Kiely managed to get out of the vehicle but was staggering around. Did she go back to her vehicle? Did people take her back to her vehicle? You know, at 12:25ish? Did something really bad happen shortly after that? I don't know. I'm just throwing things out. Things that might have happened. People need to tell the truth. I'm really pleased that people are submitting videos and photos that are assisting law enforcement. But if you saw something, you've got to be brave and you've got to say something. Finally, yes, I know that the organisation Adventures with Purpose are going to be heading down to California. I think they're currently in Wisconsin on an assignment, but they're heading down to California to assist in the search. So that's good. That's good. They're a good organisation. So a lot happening. This is very fluid. This is information that could potentially, just turn on a dime. And if there's any breaking news, then I will update later today. Otherwise, guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Just a quick update on Dylan Rounds. I put a YouTube short out yesterday evening my time. Jim Brenner, the suspect in Dylan's case, had a court appearance for 2 cases that are unrelated to Dylan's. But there was some administrative problem and his hearing's postponed until October the 3rd. So he remains in jail. There was a search of Jim Brenner's property yesterday, but according to Candice Cooley, Dylan's mother, nothing was found. So she put that out on the Find Dylan Rounds official page. So that's the update on Dylan. Oh, guys, it's all happening. Hopefully Kiely and Dylan will be found very soon and brought home to their families. Whether that's alive or not, at least it gives them dignity and people can honour them and lay them to rest. So if you saw something, please say something. Let me know your thoughts below. Goodbye from Miss Tillington and Miss Cassie Springer. I know a lot of you fell in love with Mr. Max. He's gone home. I will give you some updates on Max very soon. Okay, bye guys.